Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I'm your host Faisal Raza Khan and you are watching Foresight. Viewers, January the 16th, 2024 will be remembered as a dark day in the history of Pakistan-Iran relations. As despite of all communication channels available, Iran opted or preferred to attack on Pakistan's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Despite of that, on January 17th, Pakistan downgraded its diplomatic relations with Iran, but despite of that, there was no regret. On 18th January, Pakistan retaliated with a successful operation Margbar Sarmachar and targeted the hideouts of terrorists who have taken refuge at the Iranian soil. On January 19th, Pakistan and Iranian foreign minister established a diplomatic contact. During the telephonic conversation, both the foreign minister reiterated to de-escalate tension and normalize diplomatic relations in between. On January 22nd, a joint statement issued by Tehran and Islamabad in which it was again reiterated to de-escalate tension and normalize relations by returning their diplomats to the diplomatic posts by 26th of January. And subsequently, on the invitation of Foreign Minister Jalil Abbas Jilani, his Iranian counterpart will visit Pakistan on 29th of January, precisely the next week. During whole of this episode, China and Turkey played a very vital role in de-escalation and normalization of relations between Pakistan and Iran. On this normalization between two important friendly and brotherly countries, we are going to discuss this important issue. And for discussion, we have in our studios Brigadier Retired Hamid Rashid Malik. He is the senior analyst. Most welcome to you, sir. And Dr. Wasim Ishaq, he is also the senior analyst joining us online. Most welcome to you, Dr. Wasim. My first question to you, Brigadier Retired Hamid, that this question is very important in a sense that still it is prevailing, that what prompted Iran to have that event on January 16th, despite of all communications channels were there, whether it was deliberate or desperate. What's your opinion?
I think it was more sort of rush of blood or frustration. And as you appropriately highlighted, that the diplomatic channels were there. And for any responsible country, the most important act is to first have diplomatically engaging the adversary. And what we see in case of Pakistan and Iran, we enjoy very brotherly, close relation diplomatically also. And Iran was the first country to recognize Pakistan also. So, as we see that in the past also, that Iran and Pakistan has been supporting each other when any issues emerged in the region as well as globally. And when Iran came under huge sanctions by the world, Pakistan was the country which was supporting Iran diplomatically also and politically also, and were trying to fight case of Iran in the eyes of the world also, that Iran should not be taken as the destabilizing factor in the region. Definitely. So, in all that context, what we see that the event of January 16, I think it is, you have highlighted, is a dark day. And it is not only dark day for Pakistan, it is for Iran also.
Definitely it is for them.
And I think attacking a nuclear country, all the security analysts of the globe are also surprised on this act. And it is now taken as that this act was not taken at a government level, but it was some rogue element within the Iran. And Pasdaran in Club, I think they did it independently, not taking the federal government in confidence also. But what we see that the mature act of Pakistan, very calibrated, very proportionate, and also attacking the terrorists which belong to Pakistan but were taking hide in Iran. And we have shared this credible evidence with Iran number of times diplomatically also. But what we see, Iran failed to take an act. But now this was an evidence to Iran also that none of Iranian national was injured or attacked. Rather, it was those terrorist miscreants who were taking hide in Iran.
Yeah, definitely we will take this point as well. Dr. Wasim, what did by Iran, what done by Iran was deliberate act or it was in desperation?
To begin with, I would say it was utter desperation and frustration, but while it was executed, it was a deliberate targeting. How it has happened? You see how the geopolitical situation and a military and security situation is evolving in the Middle East in the aftermath of war in Gaza. And I would say that it's spillover how it is being felt in Lebanon, in Syria, Yemen, as well as now extending towards Iraq. So virtually, Iran is facing a multi-front sort of scenario, both politically as well as security aspects. Now, the centralized positioning and a policy position by Iran, probably there was some sort of miscommunication or miscoordination. To begin with, since Iranians, Pasdarans were killed in Syria and some attacked in Lebanon, and also out of frustration then for face saving, Iran had to act in Iraq as well as in Syria. So in that frustration, then it came down to a desperation and deliberation together. They wanted to sort out a score in Pakistan as well.
Very well said, very well said. When we are talking about normalization or de-escalation, how do you see the far-sightedness of Pakistan's politico-military leadership?
From my perspective, Pakistan and Iran have always enjoyed very good relations. And Pakistan is a peace-loving country and has always believed in peaceful coexistence. Despite our differences on certain regional issues and even on bilateral issues, Pakistan has maintained very good cordial relations on people-to-people level, at the military level, at the diplomatic level, as well as at the political level, and also at the religious level. So we have traditional bonds, and those bonds cannot be weakened just overnight. So in Iran, we are also thankful to Iran for it has always been helping Pakistan in difficult days of 1965 and 1971, and also war on terrorism, and then so far the 20 years of terrorism, counter-terrorism effort which we are facing. And terrorism is also being faced by Iran. So we both countries have common enemies, that is in the form of terrorism. We have been coordinating a lot of efforts. This is one incident which has been felt immediately within Iran as well as in Pakistan. However, maturity has been demonstrated by Pakistan's political, military, and all the other state institutions. And similarly, maturity has also been demonstrated by the Iranians. Their desire for re-establishing contact, their desire for continuing with the ambassadors level communication over there, and immediate decision by the Iranian foreign ministers to honor the request of Pakistani foreign minister. I think these are all positive signs. And
yeah, definitely it is. When Brigadier Retired Hamid, when we are talking about Pakistan's foreign policy, do you not think it's a win-win situation for Pakistan's foreign policy and also the military leadership as well, because Pakistan demonstrated a real mature response, number one, and second is that how do you see China and Turkey's role in de-escalation and normalization of relations between the two important neighbors?
Here we will need to understand that strategically, now what we see the geostrategy environment as far as the Middle East is concerned and South Asia is concerned, Pakistan played a very mature role. And as far as diplomacy is also concerned, what we see that Pakistan is presently facing a neighborhood security challenge also. Our eastern border, we have the arch adversary which is always taking some chance to damage our repute as well as the geographic integrity of Pakistan is concerned. Because of now the TTP's surge of terrorist attacks in Pakistan, our western border with Afghanistan is also not that stable. And here again we share about 900 kilometers of border with Iran. And in the off late, there has been some instances that the miscreants hiding in Pakistan were making some terrorist attacks in Iran also, and vice versa also, that BLF and BILA elements, those who are in safe sanctuaries of Iran, and are staging attacks in Balochistan. These have, and also the smuggling is concerned, these were few irritants which were being dealt diplomatically between Iran and Pakistan. And here also that now this event is also one of the again example that diplomacy has to take another chance to have not only stabilizing the relation between Iran and Pakistan, but also to remove all those irritants through negotiations, through joint operations, and that I think avenue is
But
always
it's
available
Pakistan
to Pakistan
only which is propagating peace, and Pakistan only which is always saying about diplomacy and to have that chance. And secondly, Pakistan also honored its friends, particularly China and Turkey, when they insisted upon having normalization of relations.
Here we need to also have to reckon the fact that the Indian foreign minister was in Iran just before the attack.
We'll discuss in details afterwards.
That,
yeah, definitely.
But here
definitely.
there are two sides. One is Iran and Turkey, which wanted that the Muslim brothers should not fight with each other. And the I think the Muslim Ummah, Iran as well as Pakistan, are the pillars of safety and security for the Muslim Ummah. These are two important countries for the Muslim Ummah also.
No doubt, no doubt.
And
yes.
from that context, Pakistan, being only the nuclear Muslim country, has shown pragmatism as well as prudence. It has not crossed the limits like Iran. And it has again given diplomacy a chance, and supported by, I think, China and Turkey. You very wisely said, that they supported Pakistan diplomatic maneuver.
Well said. Dr. Wasim, when we are talking about de-escalation, so what would be new in the normalization process, as the Iranian foreign minister is due to visit Pakistan next week? So do you expect something new out of this visit?
Yes, as we have seen from the agreement which has been reached, that the ambassadors would be in positions by tomorrow, this 26th of January, and on 29th, on the request of or invitation of Pakistani foreign minister, the Iranian foreign minister is going to visit here. I think there will be few more new things coming up. One, the synchronization of Iranian and Pakistan's diplomatic effort on the evolving situation in the Middle East. Now we have seen that Middle East, the Gaza situation is not confined to Gaza only as it was initially anticipated. It has already shown its spillover effects in Lebanon. It has already shown its spillover effects in Syria. We have seen the allied coalition forces attacks and increased attacks last few days inside Yemen, and even in the Yemeni capital. And we have also seen few strikes going into Iraq. So the starting from Gaza, so-called their anti-terrorism operation has engulfed 5 countries to say, as I just highlighted. Now, if you include Iran and then its relationship with Pakistan, let's say pre and post that incident, probably a lot rethinking has already gone into this. There's a great realization on the Iranian side as well as on the Pakistani side that in the evolving, very hot, ballooning geopolitical environment of Middle East, I think we, the two brotherly countries, very strong and powerful countries who both of us support the Palestinian right of the self-determination. And we also support the peace in the overall Middle East. So in that context, we have a lot of synergy among our thoughts. And this visit, I'm sure, is going to further strengthen the bonds of bilateral friendship. We'll also try to synchronize and synergize our efforts of how to secure our border regions and how to actually fight against those terrorist elements which are on either side of the border as perceived by both countries. Then
so do you think that Pakistan-Iran relations must have to be independent rather than hostage of any third country, in this case like India?
First of all, the bilateral relations amongst any two countries as per the international relations has to be independent. So in that context, Pakistan and Iran relations have always been independent. While there was a visit of Indian foreign minister prior to this incident to Tehran, yes, that is a fact. And might be certain actions might have been influenced by that. But still we have not been able to see the empirical evidence of that. But it is just a hearsay which is being talked of by certain scholars. However, having said that, as we stand today, there's a great realization by these two countries, and we have seen a very positive role by China as well as Turkey, who both are involved in, actually, they both are peacemakers for the Middle East. So since there are larger stakes of Muslim countries, as well as Iran, as well as Pakistan, as well as China, to see this region stable and prosperous. So therefore, I'm sure will be a better coordination and better determination on both sides, supported by China and Turkey, for having a lasting and enduring peaceful relations between these two countries, and also
your point well
making a
taken.
joint
Your point
effort.
well taken, Dr. Wasim. Brigadier Ahmed, when we are talking about Pakistan-Iran relation, National Security Committee has categorically decided to now diplomacy has the chance, and diplomacy has to do whatever would be the future of Pakistan-Iran relations. Tehran also committed that no other factor is going to destroy or harm the relations between both the countries. So how do you see this sentiments from Islamabad and Tehran?
I think this is a welcome news, not only for this region, for complete Middle East also. That already we have discussed that the spillover of unrest and instability of Middle East to South Asia is not for the favor of Pakistan as well as Iran. And I think both sides have also thought over it, and they have decided that diplomacy should take a chance. And as far as both irritant of both countries are concerned, these should be negotiated and
Definitely.
solved through bilateral dialogue, and as well as in view of interest of both mutual countries. And here also what I also want to highlight, that it has the geoeconomic implications also, because of the CPEC, because of the BRI, and Pakistan and Iran both are part of CPEC as well as BRI. And from that context also, Pakistan and Iran should be of the view that better economy of Pakistan and Iran is for the favor of both countries. And also they have good economic relationship also, that we see that about $2 billion trade is between the two countries, and that also that when Iran is under a lot of sanctions by the world, only opening available to them is the Asian markets and through Pakistan.
Obviously, yes.
And also from that context, I think now the maturity is being shown by Pakistan and Iran, and now there even what we see the statement from both countries, they are very positive and in the right direction.
It's very well, Brigadier Retired Hamid, when we are talking about on January 16th episode, Iran claimed that they attacked the terrorist hideouts. Those were the Pakistani citizens who were killed, not the Jaish al-Adl banned organization or something else. That was not there. So on the other side, when Pakistan initiated or that operation Markbar Sarmachar, the people killed over there, those were the terrorists, belongs to the banned outfits taken refuge at the Iranian soil. So whether Iran addressed that issue as well?
I think that it will be the point of discussions in when the Iranian foreign minister comes to Pakistan, and same way Pakistan have more diplomatic relationship with Iran. And here also, this is also an eye-opener for Iran also, that their rhetoric has failed. While Pakistan intelligence-based operation has proved that Pakistan has credible evidence, and now Iran has to listen to Pakistan.
Obviously.
What we see that there are terrorist sanctuaries in Iran, and Iran has to address the concerns of Pakistan. And on the other hand also, they need to realize that their rhetoric is not based on evidence, based on facts. Rather, it is based on emotions. It is based on frustration or desperation. And I think in future, if Iran takes a responsible way and Pakistan and Iran forge a better relationship with each other, this will have more regional stability. And it will also provide a source of, I think, stability to Afghanistan also. Because earlier there was some irritant and some clash as far as Iran and Pakistan's geostrategic interest in Afghanistan were concerned. They wanted Shia element to be supported, Northern Alliance and that, whereas Pakistan wanted Pakhtun, which are majority in Afghanistan. So I think when they will have mutual discussion and bilateral talks, all these irritants will be straightened, ironed, and both countries now will have, I think, a better, clear strategic direction to move to.
Yeah, definitely, your point well taken. Dr. Wasim, how is it possible that Iran don't know that Balochistan Liberation Army and Balochistan Liberation Front terrorists or banned outfits are taking refuge at its soil in Sistan, Balochistan, and also the raw operatives like in-service commander of Indian Navy Kulbhushan Sudhir Yadav. How do you see that?
I think both countries had been actually having issues with respect to these border security and border management issues. And both countries had been actually pointing fingers on hiding terrorists on either side. While we know that the Pakistani Persian strike, which was targeted intelligence-based operation, killed the terrorists from the BLA and BLF, While from the other side, when the Iran did that, they actually targeted the innocent Pakistanis. So this is the actually lack of information and lack of prescience on the Iranian side. But having said that, there is a great realization. And what I have been actually following these Iranian scholars and think tanks talking on different media channels, they actually have not been able to defend whatever they have done. But on Pakistan's side, our Persian guided response was a necessity to bring that strategic stability. Otherwise, that would have given a blank check to all other countries to do whatever they perceive and then execute it. So this has given a strong signal to any other country, probably trying or thinking to venture such like situation, and especially from our eastern borders. So I think in one perspective, the response and a counter response from Pakistan has restored the strategic stability and has cautioned all other potential aggressors. However, we expect on a silver lining high note that the current visit or the upcoming visit of the Iranian foreign minister would actually restore the confidence, would usher a new era of bilateral confidence and bilateral relations between the two countries.
Okay, from your response, the new era of bilateral relations, do you think, Brigadier Retired Hamid, that Pakistan and Iran needs right now a new framework of military and intelligence framework which helps in cooperation, particularly to counter terrorism, which is the problem for both the countries?
I think this is need of the hour. They need to have hotline between both the military Director General of Military Operations, and they should also have a joint intelligence sharing mechanism also. What we feel that on the 16 January's attack by Iran was based on malicious information, and it was not also prescient strike. Whereas on the other hand, Pakistan has showed that they have a credible deterrence, as well as they have credible information and intelligence mechanism available on ground also. And I think for Pakistan, what we have seen that they have joint naval exercises also with Iran. They have also participated in anti-terrorism exercises, as well as both countries' special services group are concerned. And I think they should also have a joint border mechanism also, where they should be able to not only strike the miscreants only, they also have to ensure that there is no collateral damage being done.
So do you not think that both countries must have to also consider this aspect, that any third, fourth or any fifth country is not going to harm this bilateral relation, because these terrorist incidents could be used by any other country as well to dislodge or disrespect or destroy these relations?
I think this is in the now time that you very correctly highlighted Kulbushan issue also, because Pakistan has been talking to Iran and hinting to Iran that their soil is also being used for cross-border terrorism by a third country. And now the India has been exposed not in Iran, but in Canada, in UK and USA also. So I think now this will be the, I think, very important discussion point between Pakistan and Iran, that their bilateral relations should not be targeted or victimized by a third country's nefarious designs. And what we see that Iran, though have close relations with Pakistan, but at the same time their warming of relation with India was also one of the strategic moves which India was trying to utilize to damage Pakistan using Iranian soil, as well as having proxies in Iran. And I think this is the time, while both countries, they have both closer military ties also, intelligence network also, but at the same time, this setup of spies by India in Iran should also be targeted in the talks, and Iran should take a more responsible way, that all the evidence which is provided by Pakistan, actionable intelligence which is provided and shared, they should take credible action.
Iran must have to take credible action and inform Pakistan that they have taken that action. That is important. Thank you very much, Brigadier Retired Hamid Rashid Malik Sahab, for being with us in program, in studios. Thank you very much for your deliberations as well. Dr. Wasim, when we are talking about Pakistan-Iran relation, this upcoming visit of the Iranian foreign minister, do you not think that right now the joint anti-terrorism mechanism and hotline communication, as Brigadier Retired Hamid also pointed out, that is necessary right now to address this terrorism issue on both sides of the borders?
I think we have to work on this at different levels. First will be at the Foreign Office level. and second, at the military level, at the DGMO's office. And third, we also have to go down on the operational side of it between those two border controlling headquarters. They should also have at the tactical level. So starting from the strategic to operational to tactical, we need to have a 3-level hotline so as to pass on the information in a highly efficient manner and in a highly speedy manner, and also to avoid any sort of misinformation in between. So therefore, this is a need of the hour, and I'm sure they have realized this. Previously also, we had intelligence sharing to a limited extent. Now there is a need to even enhance the intelligence sharing as well, so that whenever there's information of any miscreants moving on either side of the border, those should be neutralized right away on ground by those commanders who are responsible for border security, rather than taking it over to the strategic level and then resulting into a temporary breakdown of relations. So all these aspects, I'm sure, would be deliberated during the upcoming visit of Iranian foreign minister, and these should be on the agenda point of both sides. So I'm very confident that both sides, having done their homework and realized whatever has happened in the past, so they should also be doing some sort of damage control in future, and they would be deliberating on these issues and should be able to establish all these 3 set of hotlines as soon as possible.
So, Dr. Wasim, how do you see the coordination mechanism at the borders, fencing, patrolling, along with the joint mechanism for lasting peace, not only at the border, but on both sides?
Pakistan and Iran are actually, from my perspective, are indispensable for each other. We have a contiguous border of 900 kilometers. We have a lot of trade with Iran coming from there and on both ways. We also have the Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline, which is also impending there. And we have all sorts of stakes in Iran, and Iran has all sorts of stakes in Pakistan. So we both countries are actually strength for each other. And in the evolving geopolitical and security environment, both countries have to live with each other in a best friendship manner. So in that context, the border security actually comes to as a first paramount importance, because that is the tactical level from where all such triggers can be initiated even in future. So therefore, we have a border fencing to a large extent. We have exit and entry control mechanism, but we need to make it even more refined, and we need to make it more active on both sides.
Dr. Wasim, your point well taken. When we are talking about, you have rightly mentioned about the border trade and all that, do you think that this will help, this bilateral visit will help Pakistan and Iran both to consider, to curb smuggling, particularly the illegal trade, human trafficking, the oil smuggling, which is straight away coming from Iran, and at least this terrorism issue and all other things. So do you think that these are also the points of discussion and conversation in between?
Yes, this counter-terrorism efforts and smuggling have always been on our agenda whenever both sides have met. And since we have seen Pakistan has taken very strong measures with respect to this anti-smuggling on Pakistan-Afghanistan border, and same has also been implemented in Pakistan-Iran border. We have been able to do a lot of strict border management controls, and the trade has been regularized through the only authorized checkpoints through which the trade passes. We have done a lot in this regard, but still a lot is need to be done, because 900 kilometers and almost 2,600 kilometers border with Afghanistan, and again a porous border to a large extent because of the terrain complications. And over here also in the case of Pakistan, Iran, a lot of desert in between. So we need to still do a lot, because there could be possibilities of here and there somebody can sneak in, but we are doing it. And during the upcoming foreign minister's visit, further deliberations would be done to make it more secure and
your
more
point well
controlled.
taken. Your point well taken. We are also welcome Saira Ejaz. She is the senior analyst. Most welcome to you in the studios. Saira, when 16th January episode happened, Indian Foreign Minister Subramaniam J. Shankar had also a visit to Iran, and soon after that this happened. Do you think that it was just a coincidence, or there was something fishy in that?
I think if you connect the dots, there is some linkage between this visit and the consequent attack by the Iran and violation of, international law and violation of our territorial integrity and sovereignty. There is no doubt in it. But when you see the meeting between the Indian foreign minister and the Iranian foreign minister and the officials, Indian foreign minister also put forward that thing that there are some terrorist groups within Iran and Pakistan, Iran's border, who are operating nasty activities and who are involved in nasty activities in India. He raised that question also, and definitely he uses Pakistan's name and all that as usual. But I think when this is the thing I would also like to add in it, that this attack shows, and there are many reports and there are many talk in the town and the international level, that there is presence of hawkish element and the extremist mindset in the Iranian army and in the ulama of who have a strong say and a strong hold in the decision-making body of Iran.
But Sarah, hawkish elements are always there and everywhere. It is the state which has to show maturity. Dr. Wasim, when we are talking about Pakistan-Iran relations, we all know that India is using state-sponsored terrorism as a tool of its foreign policy, and it is not only facilitating but also abetting, financing terrorist outfits, and those terrorist outfits like BLA and BLF who have taken refuge in Afghanistan. They have also refuges there in Iran, and they are fueling terrorism not only in Pakistan but also in Iran. So how both countries are going to address this issue?
Pakistan is actually a victim of Indian state-sponsored terrorism. In last 20 to 25 years, we have seen the Indian active involvement in financing the terrorist elements like BLA, BLF, which you just highlighted, and they were in fact taking refuge in the border regions on Pakistan-Afghan border. And they also have been taking refuge on Pakistan-Iran border. India has very successfully provided them the logistic support, the financial support, and the training, etc. And as we have seen, when the Pakistan launched counter-terrorism operations in Balochistan in 2006, Baramdagh Bugti fled from here to Afghanistan, and from there he went to India, and from there he went to UK. So there are old nexus and a long nexus, and India has always been fueling fire in Pakistan's border regions and has kept us these Balochistan, KPK, FATA, as well as the Pakistan-Iran border has always been kept vulnerable to these terrorist attacks. And Indian state-sponsored terrorism has always been a proof by now that whatever they have done in Canada, they have done in UK, and trying to do the same in the United States. And Qatari court has also sentenced many Indian military officers on account of these espionage and other activities. So India is an international state-sponsored terrorism, and Pakistan is a victim of Indian state-sponsored terrorism. This is what we have been highlighting. We have been giving our dossiers with all proofs to the United Nations, to the visiting international delegations, and to the regional countries. And Pakistan stands firm into this perspective with the empirical evidences that India has always been involved in destabilizing Pakistan, using Afghanistan soil, using Iran soils, and trying to fuel these sub-nationalist tendencies like BLA, BRF, and all other sub-nationalists, and also the TTP, etc.
Well elaborated, Dr. Wasim. Saira, when we are talking about, do you think that India is using its proxies to exploit, to disrupt Pakistan-Iran relations, also by exploiting the territories, the terrorism, and some of the issues in between Pakistan and Iran?
Definitely, they are using all diplomatic channels, their media. They are active in maligning the Pakistan's future and maligning the Pakistan's image at world level, and they just it's the part of their foreign policy. They wherever they go, and they pretend themselves to be the victim of terrorism sponsored or the actively operating within the state of Pakistan. But I think we need to cater it in a diplomatic way, and which we are successfully doing it. What I was mentioning is in my last comment was that there are extremist mindset has taken dominance in Iranian decision making bodies. So that's why they have taken this short-sighted decision of attacking a nuclear armed state.
Are they accepting or welcoming the Indian influence as well?
To some extent, but again, we should not blame it. It's a state level decision. We should not, they are not kids. They definitely, but we cannot say that they are doing it on someone else's behalf or on the instructions of some other state. State has to take responsibilities of its own actions, which they have accepted it, that they decided to do it. And the most unfortunate thing is that there is a very good, there is a lots of goodwill between the two people of both the countries, and they have sacrificed and they have tried to dent it in a very bad way by adopting this thing, and it is very perplexing within the security analysts.
Definitely, you are absolutely right. Pakistan and Irani people have the historical linkage in between relationships and very cordial relations. Dr. Wasim, as Saira said, that there is an extremist thinking there that is and Iranians might be hostile to that thinking. That is the reason, or India is using its influence over Iran to disrupt this relation, or using proxies to disrupt this bilateral relation in between?
If we see since last about 2.5 decades, there has been a different sort of geopolitical situation in Pakistan's western border. The situation in Afghanistan, and even I would say rather not 2.5, maybe 3.5 decades. So Pakistan's relationship with Iran was actually influenced by the situation in Afghanistan. And that's why Iran had then adopted a policy of zero sum between Pakistan and other regional countries. So therefore, historically, if we have seen that Iran has been very soft towards the Shia population. So Northern Alliance in Afghanistan was actually aligned towards Iran, while the Pashtun population was aligned towards Pakistan. That created a sort of zero-sum scenario which has dominated the Iranian foreign policy towards Pakistan since last 3.5 decades. That's why Iran was then more leaning towards India to create that strategic space for its diplomacy. However, there is now great realization, and especially after Iran-Saudi rapprochement, there is a great transformation in the Iranian foreign policy towards the region, Middle Eastern region as well as the South Asian region. Iran has, as per my empirical analysis and empirical study, has actually taken its foreign policy out of zero-sum in context of Pakistan and India, as well as in Afghanistan. So Iran is now trying to reach out to India, trying to reach out to Pakistan, as well as trying to reach out as a peacemaker and peace builder in the entire Middle East as well. With a lot of soft power, with a lot of support to all the Muslim countries who are oppressed by the Israeli actions. So in the Middle Eastern context, Iran-Saudi rapprochement has actually given a lot of diplomatic and breathing space to Iran. So in case of Pakistan, the Iranian foreign policy, previously we can say that because of certain actions, it was probably being influenced by the relationship with India. But now, in last a year or so, I have seen a lot of transformation in Iranian foreign policy towards Pakistan that is zero-sum with respect to India. So there is a great realignment of Iranian foreign policy.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wasim Ishaq, for being with us online. Thank you very much for your candid views as well. Saira, when we are talking about Pakistan-Iran relations, as you have rightly mentioned, that both countries, the people of Iran and people of Pakistan, they have very cordial relations in between. Lots of people from Pakistan, they are going for ziyarah and all other towards Iran and towards Iraq as well. So this relation is inevitable for each other. But do you think that at the state level, at least Tehran has to think about it?
definitely, because Pakistan always sports and tries its best despite of so much pressure from the US and from the anti-Iranian forces which are very strong in the world system, and despite so much sanctions on Iran, Pakistan always sports and maintains a very delicate balance with Iran, and Pakistan's efforts cannot be overlooked when it comes to secure the national interests of Iran. Iran can never say this thing and can never claim that Pakistan diplomatically or strategically was ever against it. And even after 9/11 scenario, after all the nuclear issue between Iran and US, Pakistan was under immense pressure from the US.
Sarah, you have rightly pointed out, Pakistan and Iran both are engaged in bilateral trade as well.
Yeah.
We have joint markets, border markets, which are flourishing, and fortunate thing is that trade between Iran and Pakistan during whole of this escalation, that was not affected, that was continued, and markets were open. So credit goes to the Pakistani and Iranian businessmen as well.
Yeah.
So how do you see that aspect, because tourism, particularly the religious tourism, along with that bilateral trade, and there are lots of aspects in between. How do you see that?
I think it's a very positive development, and both the sides, and particularly I think the main role is from the diplomats of Pakistan. And our current caretaker foreign minister has played a very significant role in it, because you see that we have Pakistan gave a very proportionate response to the strike of 16th of January. But again, we called back our ambassador. Our posture was very, strict. But in spite of that, our diplomatic ties were not totally cut off, and they were resumed, as we have seen, very soon after that, which is a very positive development. And you are very right, because we have realized, Iran has also realized this thing, and that is the sign of that thing, that Iranian foreign minister has accepted the offer of visiting Pakistan, which he is coming on 29th of January, which is a very positive sign. And because neighbors cannot be changed, and they have realized this thing, and Pakistan does not want to indulge in the Middle East crisis. And if Iran, and I think Iran should not, and it's my assessment that Iran has realized that Iran should not open another front.
And definitely they don't have to. They don't have to. Thank you very much, Saira Ijaz, for being with us in studios, for your candid views as well. Thank you, so nice of you. Viewers, as you have listened to our panelists, Pakistan and Iran, both are the brotherly countries, have a history, a fruitful history of engagements with each other. Iran always stood by Pakistan, and always in any sort of thick and thin circumstances, Pakistan always supported Iran in international front, and both countries realize that these relations are very important. Salute to all those who were maintaining these relations during this escalation. What was happened on January 16th was an unfortunate event that must have not to be repeated in future, but credit goes to the Pakistani and Iranian businessmen, the people who were always stood for these relations, and these relations are inevitable if we want progress, prosperity and tranquility on both sides of the borders. These borders are the peace borders and must have to be like a peace and stability borders. So this is all from today's Foresight. It's time to sign off. Allah Hafiz.